is conflict competence for leaders. So we did a research on how conflict competence can assist in leadership. And our team members are SAEED ABDUL-AZIZ, TABITH SIMONS-DADZIE, CELESTINA APPIAH, and SARA ATIBILA. And our mentor is Professor Ama Ote. Next slide, please. Okay. So please, the question is, how does conflict competence contribute to team cohesion and performance? So we looked at other forms of or diverse ways of conflict and how they affect leadership competence both locally and internationally. And then we looked at the evidence-based strategies that effectively equip leaders to transform conflict into innovation. Next slide, please. So please, our table of content, we have the chapter 1 being the general introduction, then the chapter 2 as the literature review or introduction to conflict competence. Chapter 3 is the methodology, that is the research philosophy and approach. And the chapter 4 was the findings and discussions, that is the conflict competence and team cohesion. And the chapter 5 is the conclusion. Please, the next slide. So we sought to try to understand or find a meaning to leadership in contemporary organizational settings. And then we defined and understood the concept of conflict competence as well as its importance. So this research project on conflict competence for leadership adapts a warmly human-centered perspective throughout. Its range of emotions that conflict material naturally awakens in all frustrations, anxiety, defensiveness, vulnerability, or even the quiet spark of hopeful possibility, and recognizes that truly effective leadership flourishes only when intellectual insights and emotional emotional maturity works hand in hand. Next slide, please. Okay. So we realize that we have two approaches or two theoretical foundations to conflict. That is the emotional intelligence and then the social learning theory. And then we sought to find out the dimensions of conflict competence, which were cognitive dimensions, emotional dimensions, and behavioral dimensions. And then on the empirical evidence of conflict competence, a global African and Ghanaian perspectives were employed to see how conflicts manipulate or conflicts prevails or are handled in both the African settings, the global settings, and also the Asian setting as well. Next slide, please. And then the foundation of emotional intelligence is realized as the keystone. That is, emotional intelligence is the inner foundation of conflict competence. And then looking at that, we look at the relationship management, guiding conversations towards collaboration. And then we looked at the self-awareness aspect of conflict or emotional intelligence. That is recognizing personal hot buttons and rising tensions. And also, we sought to find the empathy aspect of emotional intelligence that is related to conflict management, whereby listening deeply to the emotional investment of others also matters when it comes to conflict competence. And as well, self-regulation, that is choosing a right response over a reaction, also affects conflict competence. Thank you. And we looked at the philosophy and approach to conflict competence, and the research designed, the population and sampling, data collection instruments that were employed in understanding the conflict competences. Next slide, please. We realized that conflict competence and team cohesion consistently show that leaders who apply collaboration and integrative conflict management styles enhance trust and collective efficacy, which in turn strengthen team cohesion. Secondly, the impact of performance and innovation also guides the political skills and constructive conflict management, which also weaken the negative effect of relationship conflict on individual and team performance, while amplifying the positive effect of task conflict on innovation and performance. And lastly, we realize that evidence-based strategies for leaders and other several evidence-based strategies stand out as effective ways to equip leaders to transform conflict into innovation and growth. Thank you. Next slide, sir. So our findings and discussions made us aware that conflict competence and team cohesion, or actually leaders can apply collaboration and integrative conflict management styles to enhance trust and collective efficacy, which in turn strengthen teams. The impact on it is performance and innovation, which actually builds the skills, and constructive conflict management weakens the negative effects. Please, I've done this slide already. Next slide, please. So in conclusion, conflict competence among organizational leaders encompassing emotional intelligence, political skills, and constructive conflict management styles play a central role in shaping team cohesion and performance outcomes. When leaders skillfully manage conflict, they reduce destructive interpersonal tensions, strengthen trust and collective efficacy, and unlock the creative potential of task conflict. Evidence-based strategies such as collaborative problem solving, structured dialogue, psychological safety building, and paradoxical leadership provide a robust toolkit for equipping leaders to transform workplace conflict into a driver of innovation and sustainable growth. Next slide, sir. Thank you. This is a presentation from Team Fearless.